Hello, everyone. We are here on Salar. It is a 5v5 ANS in the Blue Trunks Team 1, OSP in the Orange Trunks Team 2. We have got on Team 1 ANS Tasty Cookie, Atrocious, Firebird, Hallow, and Dragonbender. Against them on the OSP, we've got Star 1954. You might also know them as Beryllium Ashdal on Twitch. We got Nah, Small Goodman, Jar, and Lost Leviathan. So, gonna see what these teams have brought to dismantle each other. This game is to play to 1,000 cap score, so it will be a fun little, won't really call it a shorter match, but it'll be a, maybe not as drawn out as some like 1250 or 1500 point games can end up being. Right. Get this team deploying. Looks like fairly even dispersion here on the blue side. Orange team is kind of favoring a little bit of midpoint deployment, then just kind of going for this very even line, not doing as much verticality, although they do have cappers going towards the D and C points respectively, so you can see some things like underside pushes over to the B point, overside pushes to the D point. Sometimes you get these long kind of sight lines set up from like way far in the back, like towards C and E point. You can park something kind of up there and get overwatch fire, but really depends how they decide to dismantle each other. There's this long neutral trench in the middle, which is always covered by either 250 beams or 100 mil, and you can even get 450 down, although that's not very effective against smaller ships, so we'll just see what we get. Tasty Cookie saying to the creature, they shall creech. We'll see what they've brought. Just waiting on Nah to ready up here. We'll get to the fleets as fast as I can, and then we will just cover what they got. I'm going to try a new way of covering them, just where I look at the lists on the top left and right really fast, and then we get into the details, because otherwise I get bogged down by the details and completely forget to introduce the players and stuff. Come on, you can ready up. I know you're able to. Where is your fleet deploying? I think they're down here, so they're just waiting for that to ready up. Or maybe they're just doing like a team discussion thing. Never quite sure, as both teams are kind of setting this stuff up. Hope we got Warforged talking now. I didn't know this was Star Trek. Nice. All right, there you go. Yep, last second adjustment is they're just finalizing their choices, and then they should get kicked in the game. There we go. All right. On deployment, we're going to see a little tugboat coming in with a piece on the side there. The Setting Brimstone's the name of this one. All right. Missile launcher on top, jammer on the bottom, got themselves a C-30 as well. So looks like not exactly a multi-mission tug, as multi-mission tug specifically has a pinpoint and chaff box, although this could be a derivative of. All right, let's take a look at the team. So we see Bulker with a bunch of tugs and then some capping shuttles. We see one carrier, probably carrier, right? Yeah, it's going to be one carrier. We see there is one super yub Bulker, and then we get Small Goodman coming in with these 450 flippers. 1, 2, 3 of them. We got Star coming in with 450 broadside, and then like a little tug to go with. All right, so that's like in a nutshell. Over here we got Atrocious, who's got dual CHs. These are 450 all around. Dragonbender coming in with 450 frontsider, landing pad on the back, and I believe they've got, Rail 1 and Rail 2, so 2 rail destroyers. Firebird coming in with a pit boss, 250 and 100 mil, but a complete lack of point defense. That is a tech. They got themselves a beam destroyer as a guardian. They've got, that's these little Corvette capper guys here. So yeah, 2 of these have pinard. The rest of them are just the double gun variant. Hallow coming in with 1 carrier. We're going to see on this team. And then a couple of these air controller bricks kind of scattered around. Sarissa, VLS2. This looks very similar to Task Force Maple. Tasty Cookie coming in with their own carrier. And then they got Mark 61 brick. Mark 61 brick, Mark 61 brick. Okay, and oh no, never mind. This is a VLS and hang up. So that's the fast way. Now we're going to get into the proper details as we look into the specifics of the comp. I'm going to try doing it this way. This is a 250 broadside or Bulker, so nice little guardian asset. Has T20 secondary batteries anyways, able to see off some lighter threats. Taking a look at the board, we will see both teams capping their naturals here, as we're going to see in a second. Yep, there's that shuttle going for C point. Here's the sprinter going for E point. One going towards B side, and then one going towards D side, so that's kind of what you expect. Jar playing the cap role. We're going to see they've got their multi-mission tug escorted by, ooh, okay, that's kind of cute. T20 and a Warbler on this. I will comment that it's better to put the Warbler on the bottom, the T20 on the top. Reason being is that if you use the T20 on top, it links up nicely with the Pavise. So anything that you're going to be pointing your gun towards, you also point the Pavise towards. So nice little two-factor thing you can do there. This thing is lacking in chaff, which is a choice. A little questioning about that, because you've already got Pavise in there. How Walrus afforded triple flipper with points to spare? Let's see. Small Goodman, I think, is Walrus. The answer is they're fucking naked. That's how. Yeah. C65's got 15 points more expensive per gun for this. So this is going to be like per Bulker. That's an extra 120 points. So let's say 15. So one side, that's going to be 30, 60, 90, 120. So yeah, that's like an extra 120 points per Bulker, right? If I do the math right, extra 15 times 8. Yeah, so that's a choice. Bloodhound Early Warning Tug over here is only able to run one of these at a time, has no damage control teams. So yeah, it's just going to be like, get the early warning and then try and put the Bloodhound on target. All right, interesting. Levy Kuda's made brain screech in pain. Hang on a second. Let's take a look. Where is it? Levy's. Oh, wait. Where is Levy's? Okay, here we go. So these are, yeah. Levy over here. We got, let's see, it's that 20 mil and then gun pods and then size 1s. Oh, they're saying GG's because they just capped the points. Good old little fun in-house jokes there. All right, yeah, let's take a look, actual proper way of doing this, because I want to do like the quick rundown, then we get into specifics. So Lost Leviathan has a bunch of bombers. They've got a bunch of, you call these things Tantos. Levy, you goober. His ANS wins, pack it up. Yep, they got the caps first. Obviously, they're going to win. No. Name it Tanto. It is kind of funny calling them Tantos, because that's the name of the ANS interceptors. Speaking of, so we got double carry over here. Hallow is running, looks like a couple bombers and then a whole bunch of one type of these fighters. These are just going to be 20 mil nose guns with a bunch of, okay, SDM 2-bay on these things. Interesting. All right, so very much feeling like Maple here. I like that a lot. Maple is a good fleet. Then we got, this is TC Cookie, who I think is running, let's see, a couple of bombers here. They've already got some airborne, so they got a bunch of these Tantos as well. Wish I could see the nose guns on those. Let's see if I can find one or not. Yeah, these are running the 15 mil coil gun, which is very powerful right now. Saul Goodman having a bit of a team chat moment there. I kind of wish it defaulted to team chat. Anyways, size 2, ahoy. This is probably going to be first blood as Gremlin is got its Pavis in the wrong direction. Smack, 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 smack. And then smack, 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 and smack. That is a dead sprinter. Good, nice Prince. Was there... Yeah, there was a bunch of size 2s launchers. Ooh. Oh, this is something. This is size 2 launchers and size 3s on this. Okay, so... Yeah, size 2s in the front here, turning and speed drives. Okay. Bunch of torpedoes, kind of Huntress. That's an interesting Isekai truck there. Alright. 8-point neutral trade goes off as both of these ships, Naked Capper runs forward, and now reduced to Naked Capper status as this thing's just getting perforated by 100 mil shells. Does this... Okay, yeah, it's 100 mil on Star's fleet. I was about to say, there's no way that Small Goodman afforded 100 mils in this thing. No, absolutely not. So, yeah. Star doing the correct job here. Ooh, wait, hang on. Oh, this is Kyanite, isn't it? Yes, nice. I was talking to Vren about this, the curator of Kyanite. Ah, look, he's included the tech. It's perfect. He put the talisman launcher on this thing as the escort. Thank you, Vren. So cool. So yeah, this is one of the starter fleets that I had a little bit... I don't want to like take credit for it or anything because Ren did most of the legwork, but I did have a couple of advice pips kind of go into that one, so I'm very happy whenever I see Kyanite get used. 8-point neutral goes off like that. Remember, you just have the Overwatch from one side, Firebird with the beam, gonna say nuh-uh to this little Corvette. No, this Sprinter, I'm trying to say, this shuttle, and then this Sprinter Corvette, getting ahead of myself here, gets seen off by the associated 100 mils, Sea Cascade Flight, dumping rounds in it, then gonna go home. Just everyone suffers. Nobody gets that point. Extra beam just for good measure. OSP getting big is now kind of big. All right, let's see. So yeah, down here on the B side, it's worth noting, ANS got the cap here, but did nothing to defend it. Instead, they are committing most of their push towards the D side here. So OSP will secure themselves a 3-cap advantage for the moment. Worth noting, though, we are still very early on. ANS electing to not go for that B side, it does mean that the OSP has free liberty to just kind of push up their like torpedo Isekai truck asset. If anyone's wondering, Isekai truck is in reference to Pyrope creating a torpedo bulker way back in the early days of Neb like having those. I'm pretty sure it's like just after the OSP was added to the game, the Isekai truck emerged as a, hey, I'm gonna just dump like 16 torpedoes at you, and everyone went from oh whoa to oh no. Right. Anyways, A Capper has fallen billions must trog. Yes, lovely terminology getting this. All right, we got a pit boss moving up along with a lot of fighter escort here. Got some bombers as well. These kitted up with some truncheon torpedoes. This, hang on a sec. Hello, where are you? Hurricane Man Blackout. I think this might just be a renamed Task Force Maple because it feels very Maple adjacent anyways. I know Maple runs STM2 Tornadoes, and I think this is just renamed Maple. Build actually having to test to, was a meme fleet considered unlike the MLS2? Yeah, so there's like, there was some people who tried it, apparently in like OSP test era, but nobody's like, nobody in their right mind would run it. And then Pyrope said, I'm not in my right mind. I'll run an Isekai truck. And that's how you get hit by the truck that sends you into anime land. All right, Firebird moving across the top of the map here. They got one of their Pinard and Mark 61. So these are cheap little assets you can send around as the ANS. Worth noting, these things are very skeletal. So they've got like a CIC, a Rapid, and like basically nothing else. These are cheap, but at the same time, it can be quite helpful getting that Pinard for the offset kind of radar detection angle. Also means you have a relatively cheap asset to put on a point, which is very valuable as ANS teams tend to kind of forget about keeping their cappers alive. So you get hit by the anime banishment truck. I've been isekai trucked before, and I'm not happy about it, okay? I'll just leave it that way. Dropkick flight might be getting found out over here. Jar has got point defense on these things, and I don't know if they've got shots or what. P20 flak rounds will definitely... Okay, there you go. Yep, jammers deployed. They're going to be trying to hit these guys. Does this ship have flak in it? It does. So you can actually use the nose gun flak there. Right, I see those names. They defected. Kill them. Okay, so they're finally finding the Tantos wherever they are. Probably over... No, Castle Flight. Yeah, they're recognizing the Tanto names here and memeing about it. All right, let's take a look at what the ANS is trying to do. So ANS is trying to create an opening so that they can secure the D point here. They're picking off various other assets on the outside edge here. These missiles are unfortunately probably going to go wild. They're right on the edge of that jammer. Okay, so... if the jammer does not get on target, these might find their way in. These are, okay, a little bit desync there. That's just the server and the client disagreeing with it where they are. Server is actually correct, though, so we're going to see that even with Pavis, it turns out having 4 torpedoes dumped in quick succession is quite good. Top radar gets knocked out as well as the MLS-2. This thing does have a pair of small restores that it can use to get those back operational. Can't say the same about... Oh, no, it does have a small. Okay, so good investment in there. Little bit of damage dealt to those. Stuff you would probably not want to see. Dropkick flight just gets to go back to the barn and do it again. Furball commences in the meantime, as we're going to see a whole bunch of these coil Tantos engaging here, just watching all these now peck away at each other. Coil guns are very strong right now, but they've got some size 1s to worry about. There you go, smacking into some of these bombers that are trying to get some of their torpedoes off. These are 3.6, so that's got to be 3.6 Gs with a 2.5 kilometer range, which is going to be firing off here into, looks like Star. Okay, Kyanite, let's see what you got. Why have you not dumped all your Talisman anti-bomber breadsticks? You should have. Oh, I know what they've done. Oh, that's unfortunate. So... good bomber hits on the final orders. This is a unfortunate case where if you set point defense mode to just point, it does not mean the Talisman fires off its anti-bomber munitions. Have to set that thing to area. Levy... okay, also, by the way, Levy is fucking insane and plays this game on a Steam Deck. We've covered this before, but yeah, Levy having a rough time as now there's some time dilation going off. You see Falcon Flight still alive here, trying to do a little bit of work. Bolt Flight looking like it's mostly getting cleaned up. Those were coil gun Tantos, so very expensive. OSP takes the better part of that trade, keeping a lot of their assets alive, contributing to this furball. Butcher is the only one to get out of here, so that's quite a few of those just now going the way of the dodos. We're going to see probably Butcher Flight get run down here. Cruising at 100, Falcon Flight is currently on combat throttle, stuck on Evasive. They're trying to dodge, so I'm going to see if they're able to catch up or not. I believe at speed they're able to catch these fighters. Butcher taking some flak as well there. Oh, okay, but we're in Canuck mode. Alright, anyways, Juggler Flight and Rebel Flight going to be now engaging against the Wounded Falcon and Blackjack. So these guys have got themselves some SDM-2s deployed here, should see off some of these threats. We'll see how they engage. Got some coil gun action 2 coming in from Tasty over here, who's trying to do some work. Got some windbreak missiles here, just a cheap frag SGM meant to make people panic. Kind of use it as a AMM. Right, anyways, coil guns cleaning up shop here, going to show the advantage the coil guns currently have. They are very powerful right now, and that was a already wounded flight that was engaged in a furball and then coming out just kind of gets swept there, as one would expect. Coil gun quite good for those long-range jousts. You kind of get that, like, it's like 1,700, I think, meter range. You just kind of load up, lock in, and then blow away fighters. So, gotta watch out for that. Play close to your other assets. Probably going to get adjusted still, as we do think that is a little bit overtuned. We'll see how the patch ends up landing. This is, of course, the first patch. Has come out of public test branch. Might get a hot fix on it or two. Speaking of hot, we got some hot torpedoes coming in here. We're going to see a Jar probably get lit up again, as those Pavises are not going to be finding their targets quite yet. Yeah, these things going to be... oh, maybe not. Okay. Looks like Jammer actually doing his job there. Very nice. Deflecting those things, not allowing them to get on target. Quite good. Another flight of bombers coming in down here now. We see B point is still secured as the ANS kind of rotating themselves down there. Let's see, what do these guys get? They got more torpedoes. These are ARAD Act and an Act ARAD Val there. So if you jam this thing out, it's going to lock onto you and be painful with this one. And the other one, well, if you leave your radars on, it's going to find you. So you got to watch out. Nice to see people mixing torpedoes like that. That's what you should be doing. Gunslinger flight going to be going out here. Flight of 3, actually. Hang on a sec. Tasty, you have a... you do have a strike down center to get more bombers out. Ah, interesting little tech going off there. So able to increase your bomber count by 50% per launch cycle there, because they get the extra prep time. Or the extra prep slot, rather. Anyways, torpedoes finding their way here. That's going to be a lot of damage. Fuel for the fire suddenly redded out. Also crippled. Structure broken. This thing is just waiting for a ANS capital asset to come over and punch it in the teeth. Question is, where is the ANS capital assets? Let's take a look at their team. Atrocious is kind of over here hanging out in the backfield, going to ground against some of the enemy ships there. Firebird has their pit boss, which is hanging out over on D point, could move over. And then lastly, Dragonbender is also hanging out down low here. No one in current range to hit this target. This is the unfortunate thing. You get a great torpedo strike off like that, but don't have anyone to follow it up on. So sadly, this thing is going to find time to repair. Yeah, there's a lot of critical events going on for that, but you got to just make sure that when you bomb a target like that, you got to follow up punch to put in the ground. Remember, support players, they swing fights, but frontline players, they start an M. Didn't click MCon, I guess. Yeah, probably forgot to MCon or had other issues going on with that. Oh, song to people as requested. All right. Alright, that's a little Twitch redeem there. They make catboy noises. Right, let's take a look at what's happening. So way far in the back, Levy is over here doing some of their launching and landing stuff. Worth noting that you could probably push this thing a little bit closer up to your front line. It minimizes the time you need to send craft forward and back. Because if we take a look at Impulse over here, right, they are taking their sweet time getting all the way back to the barn to rearm, repair, do all their stuff, and they're just kind of hanging around for the moment. So definitely want to be trying to play as close to the front line as you feel you can get away with. There is safety in numbers with some of your friendly formations, but you got to watch out for some of those frontline strikes as well. But you sound so aggressively Canadian. Yeah, welcome to Canuck mode. This is going to be going for another 2 minutes or so. You know, I should probably have a brewski with this if I was going to be true proper Canuck. That way I could get the, Bob and Doug McKenzie experience. Ardent Flight going to go over here, put more pressure onto the Bulker that they got through over here. So we got some Act Wake validated, and we got Hustler Flight playing Escort. Love seeing this thing. Yep, always send fighters along with your bombers to get them through. They can eat up a couple of these like flak rounds here or some AMMs on approach. Plus it means fighters don't get the liberty of just diving onto target and then smacking these things. Flak rounds not super effective against bombers. They got quite a lot of HP and able to just kind of juke and evade here. Looks like they are going to find Frankie Teardrop over here. Wow, this thing's been on Safari. It used to be on the far side of the map. Now it's going to be getting jumped on here as these bombers should see target and then dump any second now. There we go. Trenches out in the water. These should be able to get on. I don't see... Ooh, maybe not. These are quite powerful jammers. Maybe going to find their way. Nope. Okay, one hit in there. That's going to take a hot... Alright, yeah, it'll take a hot second to fix that reinforced mag. Still, though, Tanto is now committed onto target. We're seeing Wasp Blade getting largely trimmed out here. Yeah. A combination of Cyclone Flight with their 20 mil and a couple of size 1 missiles, and then these very strong coil guns here working in tandem. Air control power quite strong for the ANS right now. The combination of their various assets and double levy is going to overpower, where is it? Lost Leviathan over here, who is currently trying to run singular and also playing on his fucking Steam Deck, which is ridiculous. How do you do this? I don't get it. Anyways, bud. Let's see. Feel like Tantos really easily crush Barracudas. Yeah, that's a quirk of the current patch. I've commented that it feels it's probably a little bit overtuned, like doing the math. Basically, Flechette Round was horribly overpowered in the previous patch, and that was an issue that needed to be solved. Ooh, big opening up on the front line here. Let's see. Moral failing over here. Is this another starter fleet? It is. Atrocious coming in with a good starter fleet. Task Force Oak. This thing is going to take a lot of 450 it does not want. That is a whole lot of Bulker going at it now. That's like 5 Bulkers unloading shots, so that's quite a lot. A lot of planes fucking battling midway as Levy's trying to micro these things. So yeah. Unfortunately, like, what happened was Barracudas were very powerful for a long time. They got the nerf bat. Deservedly, they get a nerf bat, but we think it might have been a little bit too much of a pendulum swing. Tantos got buffed, and Barracudas got nerfed, so it's very much, kind of an iffy state of things right now. I don't think the change is going to stay. I think that we're probably going to see it walked back in the next couple of days or so once people get onto live branch and say, hey, bud, this is kind of broken. Maybe we walk this back like a little bit, like 50% of the nerfs that they received, or give them a little more equalization, because it does feel pretty one-sided with Tantos. I don't want to call it overpowered. I just want to say it was a little bit too much, too fast at one time. So in combination, everything all together makes for a very pronounced swing there. All right, Eagle Flight over here, going to be finding Anarchy Flight. They're sending out some size 1s here, going to be also opened up with the guns. Guns going to tear apart bombers. Bombers die incredibly fast, a gun. Should see these guys going off here. Hustler Flight, in turn, trying to run intercept, saving their bombers. Anarchy Flight is reduced by 1. A couple of these missiles going to find their way in. SDM-2 is going to, whoops, swing and a miss. There we go, actually getting the hit. A little bit of crafty sync as well, kind of annoying with that. All right, we're back to regular levels of Canadian, so we can go through with this. Let me just clear the redeem queue. There we are. Watching a lot of your replays since the Tanto Cuda nerf. Haven't seen the Tantos losing the air once after several hours fight. Yeah, Tantos are quite good. On the public test branch ones, I felt like that was testing the upper limits of what was going to be done with them. and then those changes went to live as is. I was like, wait, hang on, that's not what? No, these are like way too much. Hold on. So yeah, kind of awkward pace in live branch right now. We're seeing Python Flight here engaging against Rebel and Panther. Python Flight should be able to take this once those missiles have been expended. Now we start seeing, yeah, Rebel Flight having a bad run. They're having to run back to base here. Panther in turn also having to go. So yeah. You can still win air-controlled battles. It's just getting those coil guns into the mix is very, very powerful. You just get a reinforcing flight like Hustler over here. Hustler's actually out of ammunition, so they need to go back and rearm. So good pick-off there as Python was able to come in and use the combination of 20 mil and the guns here. Yeah, they had size 1s on the wings, gun pods on the underside, and then those 20 mil nose guns. That's a nice air control asset. You can also mix in some other versions, giving up your gun pods for more size 1s and jammers, quite strong. But yeah, I think that it's still going to be like decided, because remember, this is not the final state of carrier balance. This is just where we kind of ended up, and they're experimenting with stuff. I think they need to walk back like some of the buffs and nerfs just a little bit, because they do feel quite powerful. Like, I'll do a little math after this game finishes off here. Right, anyways, B point resecured down here by the ANS. Tasty Cookie sends down one of their Mark 61 gun bricks, is going to be engaged by Jar over here. So that puts it on a 3 cap for the ANS. We talked a little long about carrier craft balancey stuff. Okay, Tornado just runs out of fuel. Python Flight disengages now. They've won the day for the moment, so it's their job now to kind of head back, refuel, rearm, re-equip themselves. Then you get another cycle of fighters. Looks like Rocket is... Are they coming off the deck or what? Let's see, where is... Lost Leviathan. What are you prepping right now? Oh, they are out of fighters proper. Okay, so what you see is what you got on the board. All right, so only 18 Barracudas left. A little bit rough with that one, but... Still able to do some work with a bunch of those bombers if they can get them airborne and going. Python Flight is still able to contest the skies. They just have to be careful about stuff. Remember, most of the balance, like for crafty craft, a lot of people will say, ooh, it's because this arbitrary thing happens in this testing range. It's like, all right, that is a very isolated environment. How does it actually function in a live game of 2 players trying to go up against each other, using cover, using supporting assets? Because you can do a lot of stuff in testing range, but until you play something in the actual live environment, it gets very, very different. Pit Boss in danger of torping on D side. Okay, let's see over here. So yeah, Pit Boss looking like it's over here. It's going to be cresting up over... I think it does have a track? Yeah, it's got track. Okay, so clearly they do see this thing over here. The torpedo truck got smoked at some point while we weren't looking. I think we were discussing too much stuff. All right, another torpedo flight here as Assassin Flight comes over the rock. Going to see these guys with their forward-facing radar and then probably dump their next load of torpedoes. So yeah, good torp bombing on the side of the ANS. After securing sky control, they just go fully into that ground pound mode. Bye-bye Isekai truck is being called here. Yeah, it's worth noting that these torpedoes will not be able to fully break the Isekai truck here, but this is going to be a lot of damage. It might not be fully knocked out of the game, but it's not going to have any effect in a second. It's going to be 10 torpedoes finding their way. No point defense left on this thing or soft kill. Crunch. There you go. So like I said, it's not technically dead, but it's not going to accomplish its objective anymore. This thing is, woof. Technically, it's already chain restored, so yeah. That thing is not long for this world. Yeah, so managed to recover. Unfortunately, just with the map positionings and stuff, not able to find a like close range asset they could jump on, such as a battleship or axe repair. So that means that the ANS sky ground pounding goes off well there. No supportive assets nearby this thing. So just, again, isolated outside assets like this is everything that a aircraft controller wants to find. It's like, oh, cool, you're over here with a valuable asset. I'm going to smack that. We saw it with the tug and shuttle over here that got booped. They got a torpedo package sent towards them because, again, they were on the outside flanks. Once you have established like local air control in that area, as we saw there was no fighters to contest it, that's when you're freely available to go over and ground pound and just basically take out like any capital you need or set it up perfectly for your team's front line to just collect on that kill with either 450, beams, 250, your choice of caliber, really. Just enough to break the final damage thresholds. B point contestant goes on here. We got Atrocious over here with the Task Force Oak just kind of chilling, hanging back here. So despite like having the early advantage as OSP did secure themselves a 3 cap to ANS having only a 1 cap, ANS kept a bunch of their stuff alive. OSP has not managed to find great purchase with a bunch of their guns yet. They've bled basically one entire fleet's worth of asset here, as this was a 3,000 point Isekai truck device that is... Okay, that thing's gonna go crit. Like, you have to scram this thing. You're not gonna recover this. Like, you need to... Oh, it's already too late. Yep. So not enough time to scram this one. It takes 30 seconds to shut down the drive. You are going to go up in smoke here because there's just like with the work speed debuff supplied by like 4 critical events, you just don't fix a drive like that. You are forced to scram. If you get a fuel line fire, sorry, bud, you're fucked. Like it just no shape about it. Anyways, I think if Amy has scrammed in time, it may have scrammed in time. I don't see it. I don't see the scram indicator here, so maybe another one started up? They're trying to fix one torpedo launcher so they can at least get some. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, that's dead. Like I said, have to make sure you scram that thing early on. You get 30 seconds or so, plus like 3-second activation. You can't technically skip that just by doing this little trick where you hit spacebar twice. I don't know why that works, or if that's intended, but yeah, it's probably just confirmation. Anyways, Ferry with an attitude is going to be moving off the B point here. Once it caps, ideally, they're just kind of doing some awkward dance. Nope, they're moving outside here a little bit. So yeah, the combination of the multi-mission tug over here, or I guess multi-mission like sub variant, and then the shuttle. Very nice combo there. Getting the shuttle on the point. Multi-mission provides overwatch. They will secure a 3 cap for the OSP. Remember, this is to 1,000 points. Star going to be throwing some hands over here. The final orders and the no other way. Where is Star's fleet? Here we go. Yeah, so Kyanite going to be coming over here. They got some 100 mil to say nuh-uh to Goblin Flight here. Remember, Goblin Flight, they have coil guns and are fairly expensive. So if you get a pick off on these things, that's like, what's it for these missiles? Yeah, these are like 20 points because even like a small SDM is expensive, plus the size one. So yeah, probably can get like a 20-point purchase, killing off one of those fighters, which is quite nice. Beam Destroyer here from Firebird is finding itself in a nice little rock here, able to kind of stay low. That's how I think that Star's probably going to see it here. Maybe just... yeah, still... oh, no, this is just Bloodhound. There's no track correlator. Not track correlator. There's track correlators, not a radar on this. Rocket Flight over here has got some size 1s and 20 mil, so just kind of going forth into battle. Actually, do they have jam pods as well? No, just fuel tanks and size 1s. Okay, interesting little cheap loadout there. Trying to get stuff off the deck fast. Right. Kyanite is going to find itself in shooting distance of the pit boss and going to be having a little bit of trouble. They need to get their guns rotated over. Their casemates are a little bit weaker than turrets in this regard, as it does take them some time to turn, but I believe that these have, yep, that should be the turning drive, I believe, so they're able to rotate quickly. Bit 100 mil going out here, just automatically salvo fire, and then we should see 450 start fighting into the pit boss here. Pit boss not wanting to take this engagement at this close range, as it will get bracketed by these two assets. That'll be painful. D point is going to be secured here, so yeah, we'll see. Assassin Flight over here does have some air. Ooh, Assassin Flight playing the mobile missile battery. You don't see this very often, but yes, you can equip a bunch of SDMs onto your bombers on the ANS and OSP side. They have the size 2 capability. You need the size 2 bay for the ANS one, but kind of cool to see this. Local air control assets. It also, if you don't have visual, it looks like you're going for a hell bombing run, so might be making Firebird and the pit boss over here sweat. Oh, speaking of sweat, yeah, Firebird gonna say something. Hi, hello from that Beam Destroyer. It's just gonna start carving into the No Other Way. No Other Way has a good chunk of health bar here. Vren built these things pretty tanky, and I do respect it for that. So, and 450, though, is gonna continue firing off here. They do lose one gun in the gun plotting center. Not that you really need it at that point. That reactor is gonna be important. Reactor and drive getting cooked off there. Oh, no, Na is out of the game. Right, because Na had gone super critical. So, just electing to surrender and get themselves into another game there. No Other Way is currently drived and having a rough go at life. Battle Short is flicked. Unfortunate aim point there as it decides to just cook off like the front thrusters and such. So good damage being dealt to the No Other Way here. They're able to put some shots into Pit Boss briefly, but now having power issues. Gonna see Final Orders starting to kick its guns into position now. There we go. BMDD, yeah, rolling pretty well there, getting the immobilized. Goblin Flight gonna start engaging against these fighters over here. Why are you not shooting your Pavises? Oh, no, you fool. You've got this. I know exactly why. Yeah, so this is a case of Star has unfortunately set their point defense mode to point, so it will only fire at threats that are perceived as attacking into your ship proper, which means that the 20 mils that are equipped on this thing would normally be carving through all these fighters right now are currently not, which is also why we saw Until the End down here, which has its talisman launcher with anti-bomber torpedo, anti-bomber size 2s, which can shoot down those torpedo-toting craft. Those things were not engaging either, so that is a unfortunate thing that occurs just due to your point defense settings down here, the PD zone mode, area or point. You want to set that to area for the most part. There's a couple of cases where, yeah, setting it to point is the right call, but against craft, make sure you're on area. Otherwise, you won't fire off your munitions automatically. Got to be careful of that. So we'll make sure we communicate that to Star in the post-game, and yeah. Anyways, back and forth on the caps here. Firebird just continuing to hold down the beam trigger on this thing, just cooking away at No Other Way. No Other Way, in turn, is able to restore. It's got a lot of ability to put itself back together, but just having a bit of problem. Battery Flight seems to be headed for the Keystone. Let's find out. Battery over here does have some torpedo CMD with an AX secondary, and then CMD with ARAD secondary. All right, interesting little mix of torpedoes there. Double CMD. I'm not sure about CMD AX. I guess it does work. I'd probably go with like a CMD home on jam or something, kind of like how they got ARAD here, but You can do like act with CMD validator. It's probably fine either way. But yeah. All right, so those will be finding their way into the keystone over here. Worth noting, this keystone, its defender on this side is knocked out, which is going to be unfortunate once battery flight gets around here. They split one for the pit boss. Okay, so pit boss going to get a grudge flight on it. See some torpedoes thrown out here just to try and pick away at that thing. Let's watch as battery goes down there. B point has been kind of cleaned up. A point, nobody's going on right now. Come on, battery. You know you want to hit this thing. Battery now raising itself up over the rock. Got to spot the target with forward-facing radar. Come on, hit that bomb. Oop, the defender on the chin. Ooh, this thing is a chin defender? Triple on this thing. Okay, that's going to save them, maybe. Torpedoes out as battery flight commits. They do have to stay on target with their CMD seekers, so we'll see just what ends up happening. Kalonk is what happens. Ace of Hearts is brought low. Dragonfly and Reactor knocked out, as well as the beam. So this thing is crippled, kept alive, basically just on a CIC and a... Where's this? Yeah, there you go. DC locker there. So bonk. That's going to be the end of that thing. SDM fired in return here. Not going to find its way into target. Kind of wondering where the enemy air control assets are. See some SDM tornadoes trying to pick them off. Python flight nearby. Not on intercept right now. Probably just going to eat these SDMs. Again, that little bit of desync going on there. That's just a server client error thing. Okay, so they do bite one of the fighters. Still battery flight able to largely get out. Looks like they maybe lost one. Can also flick over and intercept these things. No kick. I have no idea what happened to that. That's sickly. Interesting. So, worth noting, the final orders does go down over here. This thing looks like it got super clobbered by something. It's the no other way that I think put itself back together. What the heck happened to you? You got structure broken, so clearly a bombing run or something must have gone off, or the pit boss just does that much damage. I don't think the pit boss does that much damage, suffering reactor crits right now and getting shot up a lot. OSP still looking like they're in a decent position right now. ANS does have a lot of these flight assets. Question is, what are they doing right now? Because both Tasty and Hallow had won a handy amount of sky control, but now it feels like the fighter coverage has just kind of dried up on the ANS side. Interesting. Yeah, OSP definitely getting bled pretty bad there. We saw Lost Leviathan again hanging out in the backfield here. This is a very long travel time. You could probably move yourself up to somewhere like this rock here. Play a little further forwards, minimize your launch and landing times, helps with fuel as well. Instead, you're just adding like an extra minute or two onto your travel time here. So, like I've said before with support assets, you want to play as close to the front line as you can get away with. Final orders is potting there. No other way is pretty hurt. Yeah, the beam really swinging this fight, as otherwise Pit Boss was just going to get bracketed on both sides by those 450 bulkers. Also seeing Small Goodman in the back here running those 450 flippers, fire one side, then flip over, fire the other. It is a choice you can make, but this is really, really expensive in current patch right now. Hello, R3 Spearfish rockets against a target without point defense. How do you do? How did you miss? It's immobilized. Anyways, Pit Boss having a really rough go at life, basically getting cored out completely. Not structure broken? How? Long range launch on that? All right, there you go. So yeah, finally I can pause fire. Thank you. So there you go. Some pause fire shenanigans clearly going on from Dragon Bender. Where is Dragon Bender? They're down here trying to shoot at something or other. Not sure what. Okay, so there we are. So yeah, Jar tried to move their goalie asset onto the A point here. A point in turn, Tasty Cookie moving their kind of naked hang-up ship, going to be heading on here. I don't think a singular hang-up jammer is worth it. This thing has frontline and hang-ups, so you can do that. I'd say if you brought like 2 hang-ups, this could definitely be worth it. Then you can shut down something like a Rail Acello in the backfield or a Mass Driver Liner. But I don't think a singular hang-up is quite powerful enough. Ruby Flight going to be jumping over here and hitting on Malice wherever they went. There you go. Yeah, Malice Flight getting engaged. Lancer Flight nearby. They've got coil guns going to start engaging here. It's going to be a 4. There you go. 4 versus 6 now, as Ruby Flight is going to get popped quickly before they can engage. Or do they even have orders to engage? I don't think they do. Ruby Flight just kind of running around in circles there with a weird tasking order. Probably didn't have radar coverage and didn't see Lancer Flight. Lancer Flight with those very effective coil guns able to clean up that flight quite well. Just goes to show like what a little bit of micro can do. Also, we do know that the coil gun is quite powerful, but I did not see the fighters there engage at all, so odd stuff. ANS secures A point. They've got E point as well. OSP is currently attempting to cap the D point. Pit Boss refusing to give up the ghost here, just somehow kept alive with that magical stack location. Triple reinforcements in this area going to keep it alive. I'm surprised this thing is not structure broken. Like, actually, how are you not broken? What the shit? No Other Way is alive. It's got its C-65s trying to get them on target. Unfortunately, a little bit of range issue going on there. There's also that Sprinter down below here, which is going to be keeping this thing contested. I believe they're shooting like HE rounds into this thing at this distance. Or they're at least trying to, so bit of a funny moment there on decap. OSP is ahead on the points, but they are losing a bunch of the caps here. We're going to see some more multi-mission action going down towards B side as the Giddy Khan over here. This thing's got no defender and a hang-up jammer. Okay, so maybe this was meant to be like extra hang-ups and stuff from Tasty. Tasty able to get multiple hang-ups on target would be quite strong. There you go. Size 2 is going to see that thing off. B cap is denied at the last second there, saving it for the OSP. OSP is satisfied with 2 caps right now, although I don't... I'd have to do the math on exactly. Anyways, Truncheon coming over here. Let's see. Truncheon against a bunch of Pavis. Pavis not quite good enough. Gonna find out. Yeah, No Other Way is heavily suffering there as it gets more smacks there. OSP loses on 2 cap. Thank you for the calculation, Nogek. Very nice to know. So this does mean that ANS will have to hold its 3 cap situation to win. So if OSP is able to get themselves the D point here for a little bit, that could tie up the situation. So just is going to be a case of, are they able to recover the No Other Way well enough to shoot out the pit boss here, which still does have a gun and the magazine to fire it, so it's technically offensively capable, so you have to kill that, plus Skulker. Let's take a look what's going on in the backfield right now. Small Goodman has their 450 broadsiders just doing their flipper duty, going up against the Value Judgment and the Moral Failing. This long-range 450 fight here that's kind of been like happening like on and off again all game, so you do see 450 manages to punch like the Value Judgment pretty hard here, knocks out a lot of the systems, but overall, oh, actually miscalculated, it's by 20 points. Okay, so OSP should win this then. Ah, good to know. I do kind of wish as a quality of life feature we had timers on either side of the bar here showing like how long with the current cap points it will take to fill up your bar. I think that would be a great quality of life change, and I might throw that into feature suggestion again just because it would be very nice to be able to say like, oh shit, we need to like hold this map state for like 7 minutes, and then the enemy team, they need to hold it for like 6 minutes, and then you decide who's going to win first with your cap points. I think that would be great because it's already information that we have here. It just saves us having to like flick open our calculators and do the quick calc on that, so would be quite nice to see that. Also maybe just like the total score count that we're going up to, that way nobody's ever ambiguous about. You know what, that's a feature suggestion we're going to make. I'm going to do a feature suggestion after this stream. Yeah, we'll just do a little like snip of this thing and then a mock-up. In fact, actually, just so we can right now, I'm just going to go down to some place where there's no ships. I'm going to take a little screenshotty bitty thing here. Where is that screenshot tool? Okay, there we are. Yep. All right, perfect. I've got a little screenshot of that thing, and then we're going to go with it. I'll even just a bar highlight for whoever stands to win at that point. Yeah, just like a little like indicator, because like we got the chevron indicator when a furball kicks on. It shows like, hey, this team is slated to win. So if we could just see like who's going to win on the current cap state, that'd be great. Carrier not prepping bombers for some reason? Good question. Leviathan, what are you up to? Does Leviathan have ammo? They have KBU 15 bombs. I don't think they have any bomb. Yeah, I think they're out of missiles. I got a couple torpedoes. Huh. Interesting. Levy saying this is stressful, yet Levy trying to do some good work here. Gonna see finally some torpedoes getting on pit boss. Come on, hit them. How are you not structure broken? What is wrong with you? What? Just, like, what in the actual... Oh, no. Okay, there we go. Finally, the gun gets knocked out. How are you not structure broken? Like, I don't get it. This thing is like... It doesn't have the structure break indicator. How are you still alive? You just ate 4 torpedoes into, like, nothing. What the shit is wrong with you? Unfortunately, OSP does not have anything to get on that cap point, and the Skulker over here is still alive. Going to be contesting that. How is that thing not killed? Small Goodman should have a shot on it, so a little bit of 450 flipper action there. And yeah, just breaking off from shooting at the front lines for the moment. Ooh, right. I forgot Dragon Bender had these rails in the backfield. These are mainly meant to counter things like monitors and Acellos that like to bow tank you. They do a little bit of work against like these bulkers, because every time a rail hits a ship, it guarantees at least 1 critical, even if it passes through and hits nothing on the way. It does guarantee a critical event, or a critical, so like a fire or a bearing surface bend or like atmosphere leak or one of those. So rails are nice over time, but they don't have the same effect on bulkers you'd find on bow tankers, such as, well, you know, the Acello and monitor like I mentioned. And also you can use rail Acello on the OSP team to counter things like these X-Rids, which are very good at putting their nose towards enemy. Tasty out of torps, sacking bombers. Okay. See, what do we got here? Yeah, just trying to like seduce the enemy into unfavorable fights here, make them think twice about things, just running around, seeing what they can do. Griffin Flight here is like kind of an intercept in case more bombers try and come out here. You see, again, Lost Leviathan just having the issue of the travel distance here. It takes a long time to get your stuff back to the carrier, rearm, and then repair, and then send out again. So really adding on extra minutes here, which can be the difference between playing a little more frontline like we see over here. Both carriers just kind of set up shop on this rock. Very common spot to find carriers, so maybe test this with missiles in your own games. All right. I think Colatantos are good now. Yeah, they're decent. Maybe an understatement, but again, I think that the coil tantos and the like 35 mil flechette rounds, I think there's going to be a little bit of balance tuning because I did not expect them to come from like test server into live the way they were. There we go, finally seeing breadsticks on target, or were those whirlwinds? Not sure which. I think Ardent Flight. Oh my god, we have bomber versus bomber. Ardent Flight with STM whirlwinds actually attacks Nightshade Flight, which does not have any missiles. So we're seeing craft versus craft as bombers engage each other. You never see that. That's so fucking funny. Goblin Flight coming in here. They've got why is their gun not authorized? What are they doing? Goblin Flight, you have Nightshade right next to you. Shoot them. Clearly going for some sort of run. I guess they're... Okay, they've got their... Ooh, this could be big. So they've got their tasking set with R1 rockets. Probably going after Skulker here. Griffin Flight has 2 of these fighters nearby. So, if they are able to attack on a Goblin like this... Oop, little windbreak here, forcing an evade. The fuck happened there? Okay, weird. Maybe Client Desync? Not sure. Yeah, fast missiles like this get a little confusing. Anyways, gonna see, yep, coil guns just instantly open up. They were onto the attack order there, not onto the fighter intercept there, so that's gonna be smacked up. Atrocious saying one of their ships is mission killed. Value Judgment still hanging on like a hero. Task Force Oak delivers. The other one, the Moral Failing down below, is still alive, and actually don't think they're doing pretty well. Still 4 restorers left in this thing, and pretty good point defense overall, so that thing's able to walk itself probably towards B point and secure it, assuming the Hooligan doesn't get it. Down here, we see the setting Brimstone. Does it have any ammunition left? Has some size 2s with kind regards. We'll see if this thing engages on target or not. 4 cap will mean ANS victory right now, so OSP really needs to get themselves in gear to get themselves some cap advantage, and currently they're just not quite finding it. Small Goodman electing to split off their forces here, trying to send one flipper down towards B side, electing to send 2 other ones over towards B point. I feel like they're a little slow on the rotation here. Kind of a joke as the flippers go, but I think they were a little slow, needed to capitalize, knowing the pit boss over here is heavily crippled, could finally knock it out, could get on that point and hold it, but I think that OSP has just been a little slow in reacting to some of this stuff. ANS as well, like ANS got some great torpedo strikes, but just didn't quite follow them up the way they might want. Oh, there we go, that's going to be a great pick off there as Star loses another multi-mission tug to some of the very few torpedoes left, I believe. Tasty, I don't think has many torps. Where's Tasty on the board? Yeah, so Tasty is out of torpedoes. Oop, here comes some size 2s down this way. See if these things are good or not. Once again, finding that the defender is on the wrong side. It can shoot down some of those, but no AMMs sent out there either. Yeah, just chaff in that bank, so unfortunately that's going to be more size 2s there. See, sending Brimstones go over here towards B side. The pit boss remains alive, and that's kind of OSP's fault for not killing this thing, because you have the tools to do so. It is now finally structure broken, so good broadside will decide that. Although I think that, once again, OSP just a little too slow collecting on that free kill. They walked multiple bulkers over here. There was plenty of opportunities. Yes, Star did get kind of cleaned up on the D side point here and had suffered some torpedo hits earlier they probably shouldn't have had because, again, just it's an error. I made the same mistake when I first had, like, come to carrier patch. So you need to make sure your defense is set to area. That way you can properly defend against enemy strike craft like that. Vren's anti-bomber breadsticks are very good at shooting down enemy bombers. They are perfectly kitted to do that. So watch for those size 2s now and then. Whee! Swing at a splash. There you go. So Tanto does go down. Cleaver Flight with the SDMs just going out doing air control. It's like, I ran out of Barracudas. Okay, I'm just going to run these things as mobile SDM platforms. It's kind of fun being able to do tricks like that. I want to see people do this with, what are they? The size 2, what are these? Not longswords. Claymore bombers. That's the word for them. I want to see some size 2 bombers as well, where people just load them up full of, like, anti-craft munitions. It's like, ha, you thought I was a bomber. I tricked you. I'm actually an air control flight. Now you've fallen for my clever trap. 4 size 2 hybrid reverse things upon you. Imagine making an SDM 200 plus 100 mil HE. Yeah, you could do that. Having the secondary like slots there on the bombers, like we see Demon Flight over here. These guys, where they currently have torpedoes, you could put like 100 mil rounds and then some SDM2s if you so desire. Those secondary slots are available for whatever you want. On the ANS side, it does mean that you had to run a size 2 bay, but I think that a size 2 bay, just as like a funny thing, is not that bad of an idea. Man, size 2s are still pretty good. Bombing torpedoes just more useful for bombing. They are more useful for bombing, but again, this is multi-role tech. Plus, size 2 is quite effective against light craft. So consider just like your different options there and stuff and how you want to deflect against them. And you can't swap bays. Yeah, that is one downside with the what are they called? The claymores. You can't swap the bays, and like it's equipped kind of like a nose gun is once you like lock it in at the start of the match. That's that. All right, let's see. So ANS is going to take this with the final caps there. OSP was pretty close on it. They just made a couple mistakes there, didn't quite capitalize in situations like securing that D point, getting their cap advantage going there. ANS does take it. OSP only behind by 18 points there overall. So despite a bit of the kind of upset balance of the strike craft engagements and stuff and the various things that happened, OSP only lost this one by 18 points. Overall, still a very close game. I think with like a little bit of adjustments, a bit better execution. Unfortunately, there did get found out and bombed heavily. Was never really able to get a good torpedo strike off. Got some size 2s into targets, which cleaned up a Corvette at the start of the game, which was very nice. But OSP basically down a fleet here, not quite finding the engagements, not quite capitalizing a bunch of stuff there. So they had a lot of opportunities, just didn't quite get it tight enough, although they were very close. Still, very good game overall, and kind of interesting to see like how, as again, these are not like, I don't want to like make it sound demeaning or anything, but these are not the most experienced, like hardcore veteran players of Nebulous. These are more of your, I'd say just, you know, your average player base, the people you would expect to meet in a pub game and say, hey, I'm going to play with my spaceships. We're going to have a good time. So I'm happy to see that people are like figuring out these kind of games, keeping them relatively close. We've balanced the teams beforehand and had a pretty good run with it. So this is very nice to see in terms of just the like average pub match of Nebulous. Just a bunch of mistakes being made, but able to recognize them, say, okay, these things happen. People can come back and watch the review, learn a little bit more, improve on their builds, go back to the drawing board and say, all right, I got to make sure I bring these things along. Oh, I didn't bring the correct counter to this thing. Got to watch out for that. I have to be careful about these ones. I think everyone here just overall having a pretty good time. So, yeah. This has been your Nekoboy Nebulous Nonsense cast, and I will see you in the next one. Probably going to put this one on YouTube. Meow, meow. All right, then. Anyways, folks, that one will definitely go on the YouTube channel because, one, I need to make uploads, and just taking like stream games and posting them is quite easy for that. And two, it was kind of cool seeing how the different like engagements went here. I do think that the coil gun and the 35mm flechette, I think that like too many changes went through at once there. I'm not against them getting changes. In fact, I would definitely like to see. I would like to see changes compared to what it was in the previous patch, but I think that just too much happened here, so the air control game is kind of like all over the place right now. Coil guns basically can't miss at like 1.7 kilometers, and then the 35mm flechette is minuscule shot, which feels weird because like it got double nerf hammer. Yeah, a lot of different things happened this patch. Anyways, Neko into anchovies. Why? I'm curious. I'm being asked to go into anchovies, which is one of the channels. Oh boy. All right, chat. Well, let's do a quick little chat here to see how loud they're going to be.
Is the whole server here?
All right, you goobers, what are we doing?
We are sitting here, we're doing AAR.
All right, one at a time, please. One at a time. All right.
You heard them, everyone at the same time.
God damn it.
No.
Yes, I don't know what the fuck was going on with Pit Boss, not gonna lie. It lived way too long. And
that thing was
way
not
too
structure
long.
broken, which was very odd.
Yeah.
At the end there, when all of those revolvers were firing at it for like a good 10 minutes, it was still alive. It was not dying at all.
I am not sure why that happened, because like I saw it get hit by torpedoes. I'm like, okay, those all went to structure hitbox. Why are you not dead?
I don't know.
What structure?
But
He's just chill like that. He's just chill like
still
that.
sad I skilly shot the spinner on D.
Yeah, there was a couple of mistakes that game. I'm gonna post that one on YouTube just because it was a good. It was a good highlight of just like kind of the, I'd say like the average Nebulous match. Like there's mistakes on both sides. A couple of things to go through. Oh right, Star's in the call, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Star, something that I noticed I'm going to tell you, and I said I was going to in post-game, make sure your point defense mode is set to area, not zone. That's why you got run up by the bombers. Your tug has breadstick missiles, but if it isn't set to area, it won't fire.
I usually use Z Pro to launch them. I forgot the Ren put it on the tug and not
yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because Ren put them on the tug because I told him to. Yeah, so that's my fault. Sorry,
no,
boss.
I'm out of breadsticks because they never launched.
No.
Oh, I thought I was out, and I was so sad.
Yeah.
Tasty,
Anyways.
what happened that your Tantos fired their flashbangs at the ship?
no
So
warhead
I'm
costs
pretty
that.
sure those are set to offensive, while they should be set to defensive. Defensive means that they don't
The craft,
switch ships.
sorry to interrupt,
but-
but the craft should override any like offense or defense setting for it and use it for that,
Yeah.
as I understand.
It
I don't know if that's
does,
exactly
the
the case, but it
flashbangs.
should.
Warhead.
The
It does.
flashbangs on Tasty's fleet don't have any warhead.
It doesn't actually matter if it has a warhead or not.
So how does the controller decide?
So,
If
as
it
I
doesn't
understand,
have
the controller
fires.
decides if it wants to use them as a defensive AMM, which it will fire off sometimes. Other times, it'll try and use it offensively. The craft are smart enough to like recognize situations where it's like, oh, that's a whole bunch of missile. I should like defensively missile this. But I believe that it overrides the offense-defense settings. That's my understanding from what Lissa said, and also a bit of Math Bob and Vren. But I don't know the exact depths as far as the craft deciding like what to use for which.
So it depends on the warhead.
What did the beam DD do to your miners? I just want to.
Okay, so to answer the
the
beam
beam
destroyer
DD,
question, absolutely gutted one of them. You got a really lucky shot into the reactor and drive, and then just started cooking with that. So that was great until you got like torpedoed in turn, which was very good counterplay on the OSB side.
I was screaming for help.
There was a question about missiles
jamming
there that we wanted to cover. Who was it? Asking about the controller.
So
Oh,
the
that was me.
controller
I asked,
from
like, how does the controller decide when there's
from
no
what I've
warhead?
found, no warhead doesn't matter. What it does is it looks at the missile itself. If it's set to offensive, it does not fire at missiles, but it can shoot at ships and craft. If it's set to defensive, then it shoots at both craft and missiles, but not at ships. So that's the only distinction there.
Interesting.
And then it overrides any settings you have for defensive. The only thing that really matters is if it's set to offensive or defensive. That's the only thing it seems to check.
All right, well, we're learning more stuff every day about this. But yeah, again, this game, a little bit iffy because, again, patches just dropped and test branch stuff kind of came to life and everyone looked at it like, this might be an interesting choice. So